Hello, hello, everyone. It is good to have you here. My name is Christie Varner. Just having a little bit of coffee and ready to share with you some exciting news. You guys, sometimes I am so excited to share that I can barely wait for the training. And I know this seems crazy because I'm sharing about government rules and stuff. So it may seem super boring, but let me assure you that if you are a Schedule C filer, this is super big information that you need to know. It's significant, so much so that I really, really would love for you to share this information with all your friends who are Schedule C filers. Now, some of you may not even really think about Schedule C because your taxes are done for you or you just don't know that. So let me tell you what that is. That is those of you who receive 1099s from people that you work for, or you are a coach, a freelancer, self-employed. You could be a hairstylist a lot of times that works for yourself, a baker, coach, wedding planner, all the different self-employed things that we do for ourselves. It can be a side hustle, you can be a gig worker, like there's all the different words. But basically, a single member LLC, huge thing. So what that means though is a lot of you are filing Schedule C on your taxes. So that's how this is defined. So let me I'm going to do a really quick little backtrack for you to explain a little bit about what's been happening. Let me just say that today is March 4th, 2021. And you may be like, why does that matter, Christie? Well, it matters, you guys, because these rules are changing all the time, okay? Guidelines are changing, rules are changing. And so it's really important for me to tell you that you need to stay up to date with this stuff. The best resource is the Treasury website or SBA website. Check on those and just be really careful about your sources of information, both that the person that's giving you the information is reputable and also that it's current, because I am like kind of a stickler for giving the right information and making, really checking and double checking. But if you watch something that I did 3 months ago, well, the rules have changed. So I just want to put that out there. So today is March 4th, 2021, and there are big changes actually that came out yesterday. So that's why I'm super excited to share this with you. So let's get right to it. So February 21st, which was a week and a half ago, the Biden administration made 2 changes to the PPP program. And I talked about it last week. So if you didn't catch the training from a week ago, I do weekly trainings, and I didn't even welcome you guys. So welcome. I am live today streaming in our Facebook community called Small Business Finance Simplified. It's a place for entrepreneurs and small business owners where you can come. We're in community with each other, and I share accounting and finance trainings, tips, and strategies. If you're not part of it yet, we would love to have you come join us. I also share I stream this on YouTube, growing that channel. Would love for you to hit the subscribe button. It will help us get to have our own name, which would make that so much easier. So anyway, I am so happy to have you here today. I am Christie Varner. I'm a virtual CFO and business strategist and a 25-year CPA. And it is just my absolute passion to help entrepreneurs and small business owners have the expertise and experience. I have the expertise and experience. It's my passion to share with you so that you can understand your numbers, because I truly do believe that the numbers are the golden insight to running your business better, which frankly is all about achieving your goals and your dreams for yourself and your business. So that's why I do what I do. And I'm, like I said, it's crazy to be passionate about sharing government rules with you today, but I am. And the reason is because this will really help you. So the Biden administration 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago on the 21st, came out with 2 announcements. They actually came out with like 5 announcements, but 2 of them are really significant for the small businesses. One is that if you have less than 20 employees, we're sort of doing fast pass front of the line. And from the 24th, which was last Wednesday, through March 9th, the SBA will only be accepting applications from those businesses with under 20 employees. And that's because what they've figured out is that, first of all, 98% of small businesses have fewer than 20 employees. So you guys, that's us. Like, that's most of you. And that's, I mean, you're 98%. So there's a reason the government actually cares about keeping us in business, because we are employing so much of America. And for whatever reason, we just weren't getting all the PPP funding that we should be. So I love that the government had set aside these 2 weeks for us. But they also made this other major announcement, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And it's for Schedule C filers. For Schedule C filers, the calculation for the PPP loan, and not just for Schedule C, but it's a paycheck protection program. That's what PPP stands for. So it's to help you retain employees. So for, you know, big businesses or even small businesses with W-2 employees, you would use your payroll reports to figure out how much payroll you paid, and the calculation is based on payroll. Well, for a Schedule C filer, whether you have employees or you don't have employees, your net profit was considered to be your owner's compensation, okay? And so for a lot of you, you're like, yeah, but I mean, net profit, like we took in a lot of money, we sold a lot of things, but at the end of the day, it was a really hard year, Christy, and we just didn't take home money. Or some of you took home a loss, like it was that hard of a year. And I get that. I absolutely get that. And so it was really hard, because if you were in a net loss position, which was line 31 on your IRS Schedule C, then you couldn't get PPP funds, because you take line 31 on your Schedule C, and that is used as your compensation number for the PPP calculation, which you then divide by 12 to get monthly and multiply by 2.5, so that you're basically getting 2.5 months of payroll. So that was a huge problem. And then some of you had just really small net profits in that line 31. So even if you took it and divided it by 12 and multiplied by 2.5, it just wasn't significant. And not that we weren't thankful for it, but for example, if you took in $100,000 and were left with a profit of $10,000, $100,000 divided by 12 times 2.5 is $20,083, whereas $10,000 in net profit divided by 12 times 2.5 is $2,083. So it was just not that significant. Well, you guys, this is the big change. For Schedule C filers, the calculation is now based on gross income, okay? This is a huge deal. So it's more to the 100,000 that we talked about. And I want to share that with you today. I want to tell you, so that was announced, but there weren't guidelines. Well, just yesterday, the SBA finally got their guidelines together. And I don't mean that any disrespect to the SBA, because, you know, the Biden administration announced that, and then the SBA and the Treasury are the ones who have to put their heads together and figure out what the guidelines look like and give that to the banks. So several banks are, some of the banks are already taking in applications, which was kind of crazy to me that they were taking them in already before they had the stuff, but they were. And a lot of them were going to be changing and updating it right now. But so let's just go through this. I want to explain to you and show you. It's actually really, really easy, the application. So, well, let me just show you. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Sorry, share screen. Okay, and I apologize. I cannot seem to make this go off, which if you have employees and you don't know about the employee retention tax credit, you guys, that's another thing that like I can get so pumped up and motivated to talk to you about, because it is so super exciting. The employee retention tax credit can result in $19,000 per employee in tax credits. And if you don't know about that, then go check out victoryadvisory.com. And the blog is up from last week, and it explains it all. And we actually have a video training within Small Business Finance Simplified and on YouTube. So just check that out. And anyway, this is the decision tree, and I can't make it go away. I don't know. It's just been one of those mornings, but I don't care. I'm so excited to share this stuff with you guys. Okay, so this is the new, I'm going to enlarge it for you guys a little bit. This is the new, oh, sorry, this is Schedule C. So Schedule C, I just want to show this to you first. So what we have been talking about is we've been using this net profit or loss line right here. So this is Schedule C that's on your tax return. And this is basically a profit and loss statement, a P&L, income statement for your business that you submit to the government, okay? So this is, sorry, I'm just trying to watch comments a little bit. If you guys, oh, hey, Tracy, hey, Amanda. So glad to have you guys. So before, for the PPP, all the way back to March when they first announced all this, for small business owners that were Schedule C filers, this was your net profit. This is your net profit, and this is what you use for that loan calculation. So if you were losing money, you couldn't get a loan. And, you know, like I said, in my example of the 100,000 and the 10,000, it was just, it could be a very small amount for people. So the change is that now we're coming to this line 7, which is gross income. And the reason I'm pulling this up and wanting to show it to you is because some of you are like, I don't even know what you're talking about. So I want you to see this is what the form looks like. So you can use your 2020 Schedule C or your 2019. You're going to want to use the one obviously with the bigger number, because we're going to divide that by 12 and multiply by 2.5 to get your loan amount. So, you know, look at both of them and see. And obviously, if you don't have your 2020 done, then use your 2019, which is for most people probably the higher number anyway. But so it's moving from the schedule from line 31 to line 7. I want to show you the application, but I also want to point out to you that you really, like, SBA.gov is the place to go. There will be updates, and they list it by date, the updates. And I'm going to keep updating. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Join us in our Small Business Finance Simplified Facebook community so that you are kept up to date, but also be proactive with your business, and, you know, go and check SBA.gov and see if there are any changes, and then ask questions if there are, and I'd be happy to try to help. But so I want to show you now how simple this application is. So when you're on SBA.gov, it just literally links, and there's a new application even if you're not Schedule C, but we're talking today for, especially for the Schedule C filers, because this is really the big update and the big news is for you guys. So let me show you what it looks like. There's a different application for first draw versus second draw. And I'm going to come back and just talk about that real quick, because I want to make that clear. There's so much miscommunication and just confusion, you know, about this. So let me just say, the first draw versus second draw, it's just how many times you personally, your business has taken money. Okay, so it doesn't matter how many rounds, it's rounds. The government gives rounds of money, right? So they've given 2 rounds of money. One was a chunk that ended in August. This second round just began and ends March 31st. You guys, timing matters. So if you have not gotten any PPP money, which will be a lot of Schedule C filers, because you were maybe in a net loss, or you're like, it's not worth it for $1,000, that was my line 31, then you would be first draw. Okay, so the application is different for first draw, and the criteria is different for first draw versus second draw. So that's why that matters. It's different applications. So when you go to the SBA.gov, and I'm going to put all these links in there so that you guys can get it. I'll link it below. But this is the application. Hey, Tracy, I saw something in the rules about not using line 7 if you made over 150,000, because it makes you subject to audit. So you'd have to prove. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to talk about that, Tracy. So definitely, if you have to pop off, I will definitely address that, because that is a little bit in here. They're warning about audits. So that is a true statement that they have said that. Let me show you about how you do this. So you guys, you can just go to the SBA.gov, okay? And then you're gonna get this, and your lender's gonna have their own form, but their form is gonna come basically from SBA.gov, right? So you can see exactly what you're gonna be asked to fill out, and you do need to find a lender. So use your own lender, or use a community bank, or you can even use, you know, like PayPal, Bluevine, Cross River, all these different ones. I would love for you guys to post in the comments who you're using and who you've had a good experience with, both for application and forgiveness, because this is a loan, but it's a forgivable loan. So it's almost like a grant if you use it correctly. But you know, some of the banks have been really good at the application and not as fast at forgiveness, and vice versa. So we'd love to hear your opinions. But I want to share with you the actual application. So it is literally this simple. This says it's only for people that, you know, file a Schedule C, which we just talked about, okay? You check one, sole proprietor, independent contractor, self-employed, whatever. That does not actually matter. Your DBA or trade name, if you have one. Your year of establishment, is even says in the instructions that you can, that it's NA. You don't even have to fill that out if you're self-employed. So your business legal name, this NAICS code, this is from your IRS, from your tax return. So you want to fill that in correctly. Look at what you put last year, okay, on your tax return. And then you just have to agree that you have no more than 500 employees, okay? So you put your business address. This, if you have an EIN, you know that's like your social security number, but for a business. So you're either going to put your social security number or your tax identification number. Fill out your phone, all this stuff. Okay, now here's where the change comes. Total amount of gross income. I'm going to actually make this bigger, so I think it's easier for you guys to see. So total amount of gross income from Schedule C, line 7. Okay, and this, Tracy, is a little bit what Tracy had brought up. There is a part in here, and I don't have it pulled up right now, but they have said that if this line 7 is greater than $150,000, then be careful, because you might be subject to audit. So, I mean, if you're still doing the right thing, they're not saying that you can't do it. What they're saying is you have to make some certifications, and we'll go through that, but you have to make some certifications about economic uncertainty and the need for this. And so they're just giving you a warning that, you know, you might want to be aware of that. Okay, so this gross income is line 7, which we talked about now, which let me just pop over here again real quick to show you. So gross income is not the same as gross receipts. So we were kind of hoping it would be this line 1, gross receipts, which would be all the money that came in the door. This is gross income. So it takes out your cost of goods sold. Okay, so for some of you, that's not much because you're in a service business and you really don't have much in cost of sales. If you are, you know, a baker, or you have an online boutique or whatever, you really will have cost of sales. So this number is going to be a lot different than line 1, but line 7 is the one that we're using. So back to this. So you use line 7, you can use, like I said, either tax year 2019 or 2020. Number of employees. The number of employees is going to be at least 1, because you count. See, it says including owners. So regardless of whether or not you have employees, the number will be at least 1. Now, by employees, we do not mean that you hire 1099 people to work for you. We mean actual W-2 employees. But this is really cool because it means that this is applicable whether or not you have W-2 employees. So this is awesome. So if you do not have employees, then you do this table. If you do have employees, you do this one. And so the difference is here you're taking line 7, which is the same as what you put right here, right? So you're taking that number and dividing by 12, and multiplying by 2.5. Now, I will say, just like it was all the way through, the maximum compensation that you can base this on is $100,000. And so it used to be that they would say you stopped right here and this max number is $100,000. But they actually kind of stop you here instead this time, because they say it can't be more than this 8,333, which is 100,000 divided by 12. So you're going to take this number from your line 7, put it here, divide by 12. If it's greater than $8,333.33, you just put that number in. Am I 1 employee or 0 employees? It's just me. You're 1 employee, Tracy. You have to put 1 right here if it's just you, and multiply. So this would just be your number. So for a lot of you, this is as much as you have to do because you don't have any employees. For you, solopreneurs, freelancers, self-employed, this is what you're going to be doing. So you're taking line 7, divide by 12, as long as it's not greater than 8,333 times 2.5. There you go. That's your loan calculation number. And then we'll talk about certifications that you have to make. If you are a Schedule C filer and you also have W-2 employees, which, that's awesome. Love that. Lots of you have that. So this is a special thing for you. So here we're going to take line 7, okay? So that same line 7 that you put right up here. And then it has you subtract out line 14, 19, and 26 from the tax return. And that is employee benefit programs, pension and profit sharing, and wages. So that just makes sense, right? So basically, you're just trying to get the employee portion out, okay? So you divide by 12, okay? And that's your monthly payroll. Then you take average monthly payroll for your employees, which you are going to get by using your 941s, right? And then you add those together. So this is essentially owner's monthly payroll, which can't be more than 8,333.33, and your average monthly payroll for your employees. You add those together and you multiply by 2.5. In both instances, you can add EIDL, but not the advance, not the 1,000 per employee. So then you literally just have to go through and say, what am I going to use the money for? Payroll costs. You have to use, this is called the Payroll Protection Program. You have to use at least 60% of the money for payroll. They have expanded what you can use the other 40% for. When it first came out, it was just basically rent and utilities. Well, now they have other covered operations. So there's a lot of stuff in there like PPE that you might have your employees wear, or there's some software, property damage you sustained, all these different things. But so you have to check basically payroll costs, because and then if your business has these other things, you can check these other things. Then you're going to list the owner name. So here, if you are an owner but your company has a different EIN, this is your owner. So this is you, okay? And all your address. Then this is an optional section about you, about it's just demographic information, so that's optional, whether or not you want to respond to that. But this is the critical part. This is your certifications that I had talked about. So please read through this carefully. Kind of critical things. You have to have been in operation by February 15th and not permanently closed. So I know somebody just asked me, they were in business on February 17th. It broke my heart to say that. This is just February 15th. And I know there has to be a line in the sand on, a date, but gosh, I hate that for you. You guys know I'm cheering you on. The other major thing in here is this current economic uncertainty makes this loan request necessary to support the ongoing operations of the applicant. So, just ethically think through all of these things, and you're going to certify all of those pieces. Oh, here comes the dog. Gotta love it. Anyway, so this is for the application for the first time. The second time borrower, and I'm watching to see if you guys have questions, because I will answer those. This is the second draw application now. So the second draw would simply be if you already took the first loan, you took a first draw, and now you're coming back to take a second draw. The rules have changed a little bit for what the difference is between first draw and second draw. And you may already know all that and have looked at it, but the major difference is that you have to show a decline in your revenue. Now, you don't have to prove that if your loan amount is smaller. However, if it's under $150,000, you don't have to put in all the numbers and prove it. But you guys, you can't get the loan unless this is true. So please don't like cheat the system, because they're not saying that they're not going to come back and ask you for that data. They're just saying at the moment that you're turning it in, you don't have to turn that in. They are not saying it is not applicable. So that's just important to know. So this is very much the same. You can see it is very much the same. You can use tax year 2019 or 2020. You're using line 7. The calculation is the same. The only significant difference is this: you must have at least 25% reduction in your gross receipts from one quarter of 2020 relative to the same quarter of 2019. So, and then you continue, this is the optional section, and then you have these certifications that you have to sign off on. So I really am excited about this. I think that it's pretty simple to apply for. And so I really just want you guys to get out there, get your books together. You have your 2019 tax return done, hopefully and filed, because that is already past due. So hopefully you have that. I hope that this seemed simple to you. I hope that it seems exciting to you. The PPP is a huge thing. If you have employees, like I said, the employee retention tax credit is worth $19,000 per employee. And it actually is something you need to be strategic about. So I wanted to let you know that, because how you apply your PPP money affects the employee retention tax credit of $19,000 per employee. And so I know it sounds confusing, but all these pieces kind of have to go together. So please, please work with, if you're working on the employee retention tax credit, definitely work with a professional and your payroll tax provider. This PPP, you are going to be working with your bank to get this filled out. I hope that this gave you the confidence that it's much simpler than what you thought it was going to be. You can figure this out. It gets a little bit more challenging if you have employees versus just a straight Schedule C person, but it's not that hard. You can go to sba.gov and read all the things. I will put the links to that in this description, but I don't see any other questions. Hey, Janelle, fun to have you guys here. If you have questions, just be sure to tag me so that I see those, so I can answer those for you. Like I said, I'm cheering you guys on. This is free money that the government is giving back to you as a small business owner. They are standing behind us and cheering us on because they know that we are helping the economy grow, and every dollar that comes into your business is helping you impact the world for better. So that is all I have for you for today. If you need professional help, shameless plug, I will always say that's what I do. I am a virtual CFO and CPA, and I'm not your CPA, so just take in mind all of this is just for your educational value. So please consult with your own tax, legal, and accounting professional. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what questions you have. I am here to help you and cheering you on, and I will keep you updated. Thanks so much. Until next time.